If you like stories about unfaithful husbands, this channel is for you. Give it a like and subscribe to the channel. The penthouse smelled like expensive perfume and lies. I checked my watch. 4:47 a.m. Vanessa was still asleep, her dark hair spread across silk pillowcases. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, the Miami skyline glittered like scattered diamonds. Leaving already? Her voice was honey smooth. Early meeting. I lied. Henderson wants those quarterly reports. She stretched lazily. Your wife really buys the whole working late routine? Rachel doesn't ask questions. She's content. Simple life, simple needs. Vanessa laughed. Simple works for you, doesn't it? I kissed her forehead and grabbed my overnight bag, the one I kept stocked specifically for nights like this. I'll call you tomorrow. You always do. The drive home took 40 minutes through empty streets. Business trip to Atlanta. Client dinner that ran late. Emergency overseas meeting. Rachel never questioned any of it. 17 years of marriage, and she'd never questioned anything. That was the beauty of it. Rachel had been so focused on being the perfect wife, elaborate dinners, managing our Coral Gables home, charity galas, that she'd stopped really seeing me. I'd given her everything. The renovated house, the luxury SUV, unlimited credit cards, vacation properties. In return, she'd given me predictability, which made nights like tonight possible. My phone sat silent in the cup holder. Usually Rachel texted around 11 p.m., a simple good night or drive safe. Tonight, nothing. I told myself she'd fallen asleep early. The thought didn't bother me. If anything, it was convenient. I pulled into our driveway at 5:34 a.m. The neighborhood was dead quiet, but something felt off. Rachel's car wasn't there. The porch light, the one she always left on when I was traveling, was dark. The bedroom curtains were drawn shut. Rachel liked morning light. She always opened them before bed. I unlocked the front door. The security system didn't beep. The alarm wasn't set. Rachel. My voice echoed through the entryway. Honey, I'm home early. Atlanta meetings got canceled. Silence. I flipped the light switch. The chandelier blazed to life. The fresh flowers Rachel replaced every Monday were gone. The crystal vase. Gone. Just empty space on the console table. My stomach tightened. I walked into the living room. The furniture was there, but Rachel's favorite cashmere throw wasn't draped over the armchair. Her art books had vanished from the side table. The framed photographs on the mantel. Gone. Every single one. Our wedding photo. Paris. The company holiday party. Just pale rectangles on the wall where they'd hung. Rachel? I called louder. This isn't funny. The kitchen was worse. Spotless. Sterile. The coffee maker cold. The fruit bowl empty. The magnetic calendar wiped clean. That's when I saw it. On the kitchen island. Perfectly centered. A manila envelope. Legal-sized. My name printed in block letters. David Carter. My hands shook as I picked it up. Thick. Heavy. I could feel photograph edges through the paper. I tore it open. The first item was a photograph. 8x10. Color. Professionally shot. Timestamp. 3 nights ago. 11:47 p.m. Me and Vanessa entering the Fontainebleau hotel lobby. My hand on her back. Her laughing at something I'd said. Second photo. Same night. Elevator. Her arms around my neck. My lips on hers. Third. Walking into her penthouse. Fourth. Leaving at 2:30 a.m. There were dozens. Different dates. Different hotels. Each time stamped. Each damning. My legs went weak. Beneath the photos. Documents. Petition for dissolution of marriage. Rachel Ann Carter. Petitioner versus David Michael Carter. Respondent. The words blurred. Irreconcilable differences. Irretrievable breakdown. Division of assets. The law firm letterhead made my blood run cold. Morrison and Klein, Patricia Morrison. The most ruthless divorce attorney in Miami. The lawyer who'd destroyed 3 of my colleagues' marriages, taking everything. I flipped through with trembling fingers. Asset lists. Bank statements. Property deeds. Then, the prenuptial agreement. I'd forgotten we'd even signed one. 17 years ago, my father's insistence. Standard protection that would never matter. Except it wasn't standard. Section 7, subsection C. The adultery clause. In the event of dissolution due to proven adultery by the respondent, all marital assets shall be divided with 75%, 75%, awarded to the petitioner, and 25% to the respondent. 75%. I scanned the asset list. Primary residence, $3.8 million Aspen property, $1.2 million Key. West House, $890,000 investment accounts, $2.4 million unvested stock options, $4.2 million total, $12.5 million. Rachel's share, $9 to $375 million. Mine, $325 million, 17 years, gone. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Mr. Carter? A woman's voice, cold and professional. Jennifer Park, Morrison and Klein, confirming you've received the divorce petition. All joint credit accounts have been frozen per court order as of 6 a.m. this morning. Where's Rachel? Mrs. Carter is unavailable. All communication goes through our office. I need to talk to my wife. That won't be possible. The temporary restraining order requires... I hung up. The room spun. I grabbed the counter to steady myself. How long had she known? The photos were dated over 4 months. She'd hired investigators, attorneys, planned every detail, all while smiling at me over dinner, kissing me goodbye, playing the perfect wife. I walked upstairs on autopilot. The bedroom looked normal. Bed made perfectly. But Rachel's nightstand was bare. No reading glasses, no books, no hand cream. I threw open her closet doors. Empty. Every dress, every shoe, every piece of jewelry. The shelves were vacant. The drawers showed only velvet lining. She hadn't just left. She'd erased herself completely. I sank onto the bed, divorce papers crumpling in my fist. Somewhere in Miami, Rachel was awake, moving forward with a plan I didn't even know existed. And I was standing in an empty house, holding evidence of my own destruction. I spent an hour searching the house like a madman, opening every drawer, every cabinet, looking for something, anything, Rachel might have left behind. Nothing. The safe in our bedroom closet stood open and empty. I'd kept $15,000 cash in there, along with her grandmother's diamond bracelet and our passports. All gone. Wait. Our passports. I checked my nightstand drawer where I always kept mine. Empty. She'd taken both. My phone buzzed. Text message from Morrison and Klein. Respondent's passports surrendered to court per TRO. Do not attempt to leave Miami-Dade County. Violation, ECAS, contempt charges. I couldn't even leave the county. I opened my banking app with shaking hands. Wells Fargo. Account frozen. Court order. Chase. Frozen. Bank of America. Frozen. Every account showed the same red banner. I checked my wallet. $340 in cash. That was all the money I could access. The stock options. I still had the unvested options worth $4.2 million. They'd vest in 28 days. Rachel couldn't touch those until... I grabbed the divorce petition and flipped to Section 7. Petitioner entitled to 75% of all marital assets, including unvested compensation earned during marriage. She'd get $3.15 million of my stock options. Options I'd worked 17 years to earn. I kept reading. Section 9. Corporate holdings and shareholder information. Carter Financial Group. Shareholder distribution. David M. Carter. 35%. Rachel A. Carter. 51% minority investors. 14%. The paper slipped from my hands. 51%. Rachel owned controlling interest in my company. No, that was impossible. I'd founded Carter Financial. I'd built it from nothing. I was the CFO, the face of the operation. Then I remembered. Rachel's father died. He'd been the original angel investor, owned 40% of the company from the early days. When he passed, his shares went to Rachel through a family trust. Over the next 2 years, she quietly bought an additional 11% from smaller investors who wanted to cash out. I'd signed off on every transaction, barely paying attention. I'd signed the paperwork without reading it. I'd been too busy with a major acquisition, buried in due diligence. Rachel had assured me it was just a formality. She'd owned majority control of my company for 6 years, and I'd never even noticed. My phone rang. The screen showed Susan Reynolds, board chair. I answered. David. Her voice was ice. Emergency board meeting. 1 hour. Conference room A, non-negotiable. Susan, I'm dealing with a personal situation. I'm aware. Your wife's attorney contacted us at 6:15 this morning. Rachel invoked her majority shareholder rights and called for an emergency session regarding executive conduct and fiduciary responsibility. My throat went dry. What does that mean? It means she's coming to the office. 8:30 a.m. She'll be sitting at the head of the table as majority shareholder. Susan paused. Don't be late, David. The line went dead. I looked at my watch. 7:02 a.m. Less than 90 minutes. I tried calling Rachel. Straight to voicemail. She'd blocked me. I texted, Rachel, please. We need to talk. I can explain. Delivered, but not read. I stood in our bedroom, her empty closet gaping open like a wound, and tried to process what was happening. In less than 3 hours, I'd lost access to my money, my passport, my home, and apparently my job. And in 88 minutes, I'd have to walk into my own company and face my wife across a boardroom table. The wife I'd been cheating on for 6 months. The wife who owned 51% of my business. The wife who'd planned this entire destruction while I was too busy screwing around to notice. I grabbed my car keys. Whatever was waiting for me at that office, I had no choice but to face it. The drive to Carter Financial felt like driving to my own execution. I parked in my reserved spot, the one with the brass nameplate that read, David Carter, CFO. For how much longer, I didn't know. The building looked the same. Glass and steel, 10 stories of success I'd built from nothing. But walking through those doors felt different now. Wrong. The lobby receptionist, Maria, looked up as I entered. Her smile faltered. Good morning, Mr. Carter. Her voice was careful, practiced. She knew. I headed to the elevators. 2 junior analysts stood waiting. When they saw me, their conversation died mid-sentence. They stepped back, letting me enter first, then took the next elevator. Everyone knew. The executive floor was worse. My assistant's desk sat empty. She usually arrived by 7:30. The conference room door was closed, but I could see shadows moving inside through the frosted glass. I checked my watch. 8:28 a.m. I straightened my tie, took a breath, and opened the door. The entire board was already seated. Susan Reynolds at one end, Patricia Morrison, Rachel's attorney, standing near the windows reviewing documents, and at the head of the table, in the chair I usually occupied, Rachel. She looked different. Hair pulled back in a severe bun, charcoal gray suit I'd never seen before, no jewelry except her wedding ring, which she was deliberately removing as I entered, setting it on the table with a soft click. Her eyes met mine, cold, empty, like looking at a stranger. Mr. Carter, Susan said formally, please, sit. The only empty chair was at the far end of the table, the subordinate position. I sat. Let's begin. Susan opened a folder. This emergency session was called by majority shareholder Rachel Carter regarding executive conduct violations and breach of fiduciary duty. Patricia Morrison stepped forward. Mrs. Carter has evidence that Mr. Carter has been misusing company resources for personal affairs. Corporate credit cards for hotel rooms. Company time spent on non-business activities. Conflicts of interest that... This is insane, I interrupted. Rachel, you can't seriously... Mrs. Carter, Rachel corrected, her voice steady. And yes, I can. I own 51% of this company. I have every right to protect our investors from executive misconduct. She slid a document across the table toward Susan. I'm calling for an immediate vote to remove David Carter as Chief Financial Officer, effective today. The room went silent. Susan looked at the document, then at me, then back at Rachel. This is highly irregular. It's perfectly legal, Patricia interjected. Mrs. Carter has majority control. She can call for executive removal at any time. I felt the walls closing in. You can't do this. I built this company. I've given 17 years. You've given 17 years of lies, Rachel said quietly. To me, to this board, to our investors. She stood, commanding the room with a presence I'd never seen before. All in favor of removing David Carter as CFO? Susan hesitated, then raised her hand. One by one, every board member followed. It was unanimous. Motion carries. Rachel's voice was steady. Effective immediately. David Carter is no longer Chief Financial Officer of Carter Financial Group. Security will escort you out. You have 30 minutes to clear your office. I stared at her. This woman I'd shared a bed with for 17 years. The woman who'd cooked my favorite meals, laughed at my jokes, built a life with me. She looked at me like I was nothing. Rachel, we're done here. She gathered her papers. Patricia will handle the rest. I have actual work to do. She walked past me without another glance. 2 security guards appeared at the door. Mr. Carter, one said quietly. This way, please. The security guards stood outside my office while I packed. 17 years reduced to a cardboard box. I grabbed my diplomas off the wall. A few personal photos. The Crystal Award from our biggest acquisition. My hands moved mechanically while my brain tried to process what had just happened. Fired. From my own company. My phone buzzed. Patricia Morrison. Mr. Carter, we need to discuss the settlement terms. My office, 2 p.m. today. I'm not agreeing to anything until I talk to Rachel. That won't be happening. Mrs. Carter has made herself very clear. All communication goes through me. She paused. 2 p.m. Don't be late. We have a lot to cover. She hung up. I sat in my chair, my former chair, and stared at the city sprawling below. From up here, Miami looked peaceful, orderly, nothing like the chaos my life had become. How long had Rachel been planning this? I pulled out my laptop and opened my email, searching for anything that might explain when she'd found out, when she'd decided to destroy everything. Then I found it, an email from 4 months ago. Subject: Private Investigation Services, Final Report. It wasn't sent to me. It was forwarded to me accidentally by Rachel's attorney, probably a clerical error when they were compiling evidence. I opened it. The private investigator's report was 73 pages long. Subject: David Michael Carter Surveillance Period, June 1st, September 15th. Summary: Subject has been engaged in an ongoing extramarital affair with Vanessa Torres, age 29, marketing director at Kendall & Partners. June 1st. Rachel had hired the investigator in early June. 4 months ago. I kept reading, my stomach twisting with each page. June 3rd. Subject met VT at Rusty Pelican, 7:30 p.m. Dinner lasted 2.5 hours. Intimate physical contact observed. June 10th. Subject and VT entered Fontainebleau Hotel, 10:47 p.m. Exited separately at 2:15 a.m. June 18th. Subject used corporate Amex, card ending 4429, to purchase jewelry at Tiffany & Co. $4,300. Item delivered to VT's address. Every date, every location, every lie I'd told, documented and time-stamped. But what destroyed me was the final section. Recommendation: Client should secure all assets immediately. Subject shows no signs of ending affair. Financial records indicate pattern of resource misappropriation. Suggest immediate consultation with divorce attorney specializing in high net worth cases and corporate holdings. Rachel had received this report on September 18th, and for the next 6 weeks, she'd come home every night, smiled at me over dinner, kissed me goodbye in the morning, and played the role of the devoted wife, while systematically preparing to obliterate my entire existence. She'd met with attorneys, organized her evidence, transferred assets, filed paperwork, contacted my board of directors, all while I was too busy with Vanessa to notice. I'd underestimated her completely. The woman I'd dismissed as simple and content had orchestrated a corporate takeover and a financial execution with the precision of a Fortune 500 CEO. A knock on my office door. One of the security guards. "Mr. Carter, your 30 minutes are up." I closed the laptop, picked up my pathetic cardboard box, and walked out of my office for the last time. The elevator ride down felt endless. Through the glass walls I could see employees watching, whispering. Some looked sympathetic. Most looked satisfied. The CFO, who'd always been untouchable, finally brought down. In the lobby I passed the wall of framed photos, company milestones, award ceremonies, team celebrations. My face was in half of them. By tomorrow they'd probably all be gone. I pushed through the revolving door and stepped into the Miami heat. My phone buzzed again. Rachel. My heart jumped. Finally. Maybe she'd... It was a text. Patricia's office, 2 p.m. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. Not Rachel. Her assistant, using Rachel's phone. I stood on the sidewalk outside the building I'd built, holding a box of worthless memories, with $340 in my wallet and nowhere to go. Patricia Morrison's office was everything mine used to be. Top floor, floor-to-ceiling windows, power and money radiating from every surface. I sat across from her at 2 p.m. sharp, my cardboard box still in the car. "Let's make this simple," Patricia said, sliding documents across her desk. Sign these, and we can avoid a protracted court battle that will cost you what little you have left. I scanned the settlement agreement. Rachel got the house, the vacation properties, 75% of all accounts, 75% of my stock options, and she retained majority control of Carter Financial. I got my car, $3.1 million after taxes, and the privilege of walking away quietly. "This is everything I worked for," I said. "No, Mr. Carter. This is what you have left after destroying everything you worked for." Patricia leaned back. "You're lucky my client is being generous. She could have pushed for full corporate takeover, sued you personally for misappropriation of company funds, and made this very public. She chose discretion. I want to talk to Rachel. Not happening. She's my wife. She's your soon-to-be ex-wife, and she has nothing to say to you." Patricia tapped the papers. "Sign or don't. But if you refuse, we go to court, and I promise you, Mr. Carter, you won't like how that ends." I stared at the signature line. I thought about fighting, hiring my own attorney, dragging this out for months, maybe years. But what was the point? The photos were undeniable. The prenup was ironclad. Rachel had majority control of my company, and I was exhausted. 17 years of marriage. Gone. A company I built from nothing. Gone. Everything I'd worked for. Gone. I picked up the pen. 3 weeks later, I sat in a modest apartment in Kendall. 2 bedrooms, nothing like the Coral Gables house. The divorce had been finalized yesterday. Quick. Clinical. Efficient. Just like everything Rachel did. I'd tried calling her one last time before the final hearing. She'd answered, "What do you want, David?" I wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything. For hurting you. For being so blind. You never meant to get caught," she interrupted. "There's a difference. Rachel, please. We can talk about this. Maybe there's a way. There's no we anymore. You made your choice every time you walked into that woman's apartment. Every lie you told. Every night you spent with her instead of with me." Her voice was steel. "You wanted freedom, David. You wanted excitement. You wanted someone who made you feel alive." She paused. "Now you have it. All the freedom you could ever want. No wife, no company, no responsibilities. Enjoy it. I made a mistake." "No. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. A mistake is saying something hurtful in an argument. What you did was a choice. You chose her. Repeatedly. For 6 months. I chose wrong," I whispered. "Yes, you did. And now you get to live with that choice." Her voice softened slightly, but the edge remained. "Goodbye, David." The line went dead. I stood at my apartment window now, looking out at a view that wasn't mine. In a life I didn't recognize. My phone buzzed. A LinkedIn notification. Rachel Carter promoted to CEO of Carter Financial Group. The board unanimously approved her appointment, citing strong leadership and strategic vision. There was a photo. Rachel in a power suit, standing in front of her building, looking confident and powerful. She'd won. Completely. And I'd handed her the victory myself, one lie at a time. I thought about Vanessa. I'd tried calling her last week. She'd blocked my number. Apparently dating a divorced, unemployed ex-CFO wasn't as appealing as dating a powerful executive. I sat on my cheap couch in my cheap apartment and finally understood what I'd lost. Not just money, not just a company. I'd lost a woman who loved me, who'd built a life with me, who'd been loyal when I hadn't deserved it. And by the time I'd realized what I had, she was already gone. The rain started outside. I watched it streak down the window. Somewhere in Coral Gables, Rachel was probably sitting in our house, her house, planning her next board meeting, living the life she'd reclaimed. And I was here, alone, with nothing but regrets and a bank account that would run out eventually. Freedom, I'd wanted. Freedom, I got. It tasted like ashes. Thank you for making it to the end. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for more stories. See you soon.